first of all welcome very much at this WIRE 2020 conference. This has been a well-attended conference with hundreds of participants, and despite the corona crisis, apparently there is a huge interest in the topic of this conference, and I hope that also this interest is reflected in the special session we have this afternoon. The afternoon session is devoted to empowering communities for innovative tourism-based entrepreneurship, and we would look into the combination of natural and cultural heritage. And we are very happy to have 4 speakers with us. I would suggest that we, without further ado, start immediately. But as a chair, I have to be rather strict because time is very precious. And especially with online meetings, we cannot allow for a delay. So I would like to start immediately. And so the first speaker is Krumislav Kukrov. And I would like to give you the floor. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Peter. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, so thank you very much for opportunity to have a few words on this nice panel. And I'm here not like a scientist, but more like enterpriser who works in a cultural heritage connected business. Basically, not too big business. It's more like a family business, which includes me, my wife, 3 daughters, mother, and aunt, and father-in-law. We grow olive trees and also have very good olive oil, but not just us. It's more like all island have it. But what is maybe different from others families here, we connected our business with cultural heritage. So we own a few things which belongs to Croatian and Mediterranean heritage, like old olive mill, now 150 years old, and we are 4th generation of people who produce olive oil on the same spot. Also, there is we own, like family owned, small castle from 16th century, which is basically ruined because of years of communism, need to say. But now we are adapting, and with the help with the European Union, now we are also work on how to say, on the reconstruction in the and we want to offer that site to the tourists. Also, which is interesting, that we depend of tourism here, because if no tourists, of course, we can't sell our olive oil, our products, and also nobody will have a tour in our museum, which is private, and it's also kind of one of the few which is private in Croatia. So the balance with mass tourism and sustainable, smaller, we don't, what I want to say, for us is even impossible to have mass tourism in the places like Škrip, which is 5 miles from the sea in the middle of the island. So our focus is like to the people who are interested in cultural heritage. So it's something a little bit different than only sun and sea, and that makes us like pioneers in that branch in Croatia. But we are very satisfied, and I need to say, despite the coronavirus crisis, we still managed to obtain quite nice results. That's like introduction of me.
Okay, well, Thank you very much. Are there some other members of your team or your family who are joining us and also would like to add something? Otherwise, we might just immediately have some responses from others. No one at this moment. Yeah, so this is a beautiful story. So thank you very much. It's one of the beautiful examples where we can see how much successful tourism and creative entrepreneurship are linked together and can lead to very interesting and sustainable results, while of course also supporting the business idea. Are there at this moment already some immediate questions to be addressed to the first speaker, Mr. Kukrov?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, Karima Kutit. Yeah.
Yes, well, I'm a lover of oil. I really like it. And my question to you is, this session is also on innovative tourism-based entrepreneurship. So you are making beautiful products. There's a history behind it. And how can we connect with, for instance, social media, innovation tools, supporting tools? How do you think about to spread out the message on the products that you are providing and developing, and the story behind it? How would you like to share that with potential visitors to the country or to the city?
So thank you for a question. Basically, when I started, we now work 7 years, and it's quite developing, especially in last 2 years. We make some results, which is not like some super business results, but it's just enough for the family. We can live on island. I hope the daughters will live here. So how we make marketing? Basically, we depend of TripAdvisor, and that's our policy in marketing. We just want to be like recommended from the people who visited us, and also it's because it's not enough. We also communicate with through our Facebook page and Instagram, but mostly, and it's really what it's need, because when we also keep our business like a more to be discovered. So we are just really the best in what we do. We try to offer the tourists, and that's back. How to say? I'm sorry, but what I want to say. Yes, that we based our policy on satisfied customers, and that's because if I don't like, me personally, I told you I'm not a scientist, not maybe speaker, but what I saw from that last 7 years, the best ways to be when you represent yourself like a honest business owner. And then that the complete story roll on, and then customers coming back. So then we don't depend on the mass tourism, mass media, and also marketing. I don't know if I'm being clear. Am I clear? But that I want to say.
No, it's fine. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I was interested to hear what you think about these kinds of things.
Yeah, for my opinion is just best to be like honest business owner, small one, and that's our goal. Not we don't want to be like big advertising company.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Gu. What I liked very much also in your reply is that the production and marketing of, let's say, a traditional product like olive oil now is confronted also with the rise of modern digital technology and marketing instruments. You mentioned already TripAdvisor. And I think that is really one of the success stories we have nowadays, that old products can be put in a new jacket and then suddenly they become much more part of an innovative marketing concept. So I'm really impressed by the work you have been doing, and of course, much success. And having said this, unless there are other questions at this moment, I would propose that we move on to the next speaker. Of course, at the end of this session, we might get back also to Mr. Kukrov and maybe ask some more questions. But with a view to the time, I would suggest that we now move ahead immediately to Francesco Vigalando. He is the next speaker on our list. You have the floor, Francesco.
Thank you very much. And I have a short presentation. So to introduce me myself, I share the screen very quickly. Can you see my screen?
I do not yet see it from my side.
Yes, yesterday that works. Maybe. No. Try again. No. I think it works.
Yeah, now we have a screen at least. At least I saw
Okay.
this.
So my name is Francesco Vigalando, and I am representative of Aragon Exterior, that is a public agency from the Aragon region in Spain. But today I am participating on behalf of ERIN. ERIN is the European Regions Research and Innovation Network, a network established here in Brussels with more than 120 members, all of their regional office here in Brussels, and representing more than 20 countries. And my ambition is to support the development of regional and local innovation ecosystems and enhance the common learning and sharing capacities, building capacities. And we organize through working groups to develop project development, also to share many experience in policy and in general for cooperation. And in particular, regarding also the subject of panel, we have a working group that focus on tourism and cultural heritage. And I am one of the coordinators of this group. And since more than 2 years, this working group has oriented a significant part of this activity to promote the use of new technologies for innovation in the sector of tourism and in the cultural and creative sectors. Furthermore, Herin is also a representative in the advisory group of experts on cultural heritage, selected by the European Commission for 2 years. And we have participated in meaningful European projects. For instance, in the last Erasmus Plus call on the blueprint for skills on cultural heritage, and that aims to create a strategic alliance for developing skills. And maybe the most important is also the ambition to develop at this moment many concepts regarding the development of innovation in the regions. And so we introduce in each working group these different approaches those, for instance, you can see the most important ideas, this place-based approach, ecosystem, and the aspect related to governance. And this is our group with some details about the other co-leaders and the activities. And beside these projects I mentioned, or developing of cooperative projects, maybe one of the most important actions we developed entrepreneur the last year was the development of this cultural and creative regional ecosystem partnership that is involved in the smart specialization strategy platform. I don't know if you are familiarized or the audience familiarized with this concept, but if I can maybe ask the questions about it. Very quickly, maybe you know that different regions, all the regions need to, in the frame of the structural funds, need to present also a strategy for the smart specialization and innovation. And the Commission has stimulated the cooperation in different thematic areas. The thematic areas are proposed by a group of regions that share the same interest. And one of the last thematic areas that has been approved by the Commission is this one, cultural and creative regional ecosystems. And our focus is just as the subject of this panel is this ambition to empowering local communities. There are another platform in another partnership in this industrial modernization platform devoted to tourism and digitalization. Is more specifically in this transition to digital for the tourism sector, but for not overlap with this partnership, this partnership on cultural and creative ecosystems is just oriented to the participation of the communities and developing the community building, and this interaction between tourism and cultural heritage and living heritage in general. I think for the moment, I think it's okay. I have other parts that maybe to develop later, if you want.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Francesco, for a very precise and interesting outline of the things you are doing, also in cooperation with the European Union, etc. Are there at this moment specific questions to be raised immediately to Francesco? Maybe I can raise a question myself. This session is also on innovative entrepreneurship. And would you argue that participation also in the projects you are doing would lead to an upgrading of innovative entrepreneurship, not only in your own country, but also all over Europe?
This is the mission of the network, is just to develop this collaboration between the regions, but not only the authorities, but the actors from the regions, the different stakeholders. The same thing for this partnership I introduced you in this creative and cultural ecosystems. This is just to develop inside in this partnership co-investment projects involving different actors from different regions and just with a particular area of interest to develop investment. Something as a step before forward the investment, we need also to develop other parts for this collaboration, or maybe to approach the innovative solutions or the new technologies to the market. And also maybe our action as a network and also our activity as working group is to develop new ideas, to new concepts, and maybe not directly in the working group, but by sharing the different practices or concepts or knowledge that exist in the regions.
Okay.
And I can show you some examples if you want.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have time, or if you want, I can share in my presentation. I have some examples for that.
No, but I think it was nice to give this clarification, because you see, we are always looking for interesting and creative learning models in Europe. And I think the initiative in which you are involved could be part of a learning experience in which also many others could join and also could learn about it. So thank you very much.
So, sorry, just an idea that I forgot to say, that this partnership is, we are building this partnership. So we launched the partnership and we receive members now. So you are invited also to inform about this partnership and to participate. In particular, the other important organization supporting this new partnership is the Confederation of the Peripheric and Maritime Regions, and in particular the macro region of Adriatic and Ionian region. So yeah, we have now Croatia or Albania or Montenegro that is just joining, the process of joining this partnership. And also one of the most important objectives for the partnership will be skill and entrepreneurship.
Okay. Okay. Well, that looks very interesting. Of course, with a beautiful experience from a beautiful region also in Italy. So thank you very much. Do we have other direct questions? Of course, you can always ask in writing also some questions, but do we have some direct questions at this moment to Francesco? If there is no further direct question, again, Francesco, thank you so much for a very interesting learning experience and sharing it with us. Then I would like to proceed now immediately to the next speaker on our list, Antonia Muthersega. I hope I pronounced the name properly. Antonia, you have the floor.
Thank you. My name is Antonia Muthersega, and I'm a former director of Split Development Agency, which is an agency owned by the city of Split, the second largest city in Croatia. I also have a background in art history, monument protection, and for the last 8 years, I developed and implemented several projects related to cultural and natural heritage, which were all funded by the EU from the pre-accession period up until this structural funding. And from my experience, it is very important to include all the stakeholders that you can get. So the local community identifies itself with the cultural good or natural good you are working with. And I have this beautiful experience, beautiful example of the project that I developed with city of Ljubuški, which is in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And there was this almost forgotten archaeological site of the Roman camp. And then we developed a project that presents this camp. And we also involved students of art, architecture, and art history who created this innovative student installation, which was site-specific for that site. And it was very well recognized by the local community, by the entrepreneurs, and all the local stakeholders. But from the perspective of local authority, I must say that we are very based in EU funding when developing these kind of projects, because there is this lack of money for cultural projects. And there are also some legal boundaries for us to include small and medium enterprises in project development, because we need to organize public calls, and we need to be very careful with the state aid. So there are these administrative barriers for us to include entrepreneurs in this planning phase, and which is also something that makes the situation harder in development phase for them to join. So I think that we should have better collaboration with local SMEs and develop together innovative cultural and natural tourism products. As I said, I'm experienced in that, but there are also many difficulties in this process. But I don't know what else to say. We are currently developing this integrated cultural heritage restoration project in the city of Split, which includes several sites, and the most visible one is City Council, which is placed at the central at the center of Split. But unfortunately, we don't have any entrepreneurs included in project team for now. We only have the city of Split, our tourist board, and city museum. So it's very hard when institutions and the public sector tries to develop innovative cultural products without the real support of the entrepreneurs.
Well, Antonia, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay. This was already your entire presentation, or?
Yes, this was my entire presentation.
Yeah,
I don't know, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. So let's try to first solicit a few more questions and then see how far we can get. We still have got, fortunately, a little bit of time. So is there any question from the side of the other speakers, or maybe from the side of the audience? Everyone is welcome to ask a question or raise some issues to Antonia.
Yes, I have a question for Antonia. Antonia, hello. I just want to know, do you have help from Ministry of Culture of Croatia, and how do you work with them? Is it supportive for you and your project? Because for us it's quite supportive. So
for us as a city is also very supportive. We have a good collaboration with representatives of Ministry of Culture at the local level, and also on the national level we can get funding for these projects, which supports our part of the co-funding in the whole financial construction. So we have a very good collaboration with the Ministry of Culture.
thanks.
Okay, well, thank you, Antonia. Are there other questions? No further questions at this moment. There is also a written question by Lydia Petric from Split. And Lydia, can you also can you speak now, and are we able to listen to your question? I've seen Lydia has joined the room and she had a small observation, but maybe Lydia, you might just get back to Antonia with your question at a later stage then. Is that okay? Good. Well, once more, Antonia, thank you very much. We will have a few more questions perhaps later on. There will also be a few questions in writing. So we might get back to it later on, even though I now see another question by Lydia Petric. The reason for the lack of involvement of the entrepreneurs in your project and the general level of knowledge on the importance and opportunities of heritage that will open many opportunities, of course, for entrepreneurs. Could you maybe elaborate a little bit on the strategy and the implications also for the city of Split? Antonia?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can answer the question of Mrs. Petric. I think that definitely there is a lack of knowledge of the importance and opportunities of the cultural heritage at the local level. But that is something that we must change because we must work on continuous educative actions, so the people look at the heritage not as a burden for our local budget, but also as an opportunity to present ourselves and to develop certain services and products that are local based, that are very original, that are site specific. At this very moment, most of the entrepreneurs in the city of Split are based on opening bars or restaurants at the UNESCO site. So I think that the local government and also the local tourist board needs to implement educational and other activities in order to raise the knowledge and maybe to show some examples of the good practice on the European level. So they can see which kind of products and which kind of services can also be developed related to the heritage, but not only these services we are having on a mass level right now. So because everybody, when you are an entrepreneur, you make your business plan, and most of the people just want to earn as much as money on the short period of time. And if you open a bar or a restaurant, that's the easiest way. But if you need to develop something very original or site specific, then you need to involve other stakeholders, and you need to design these things. You need to put a lot more effort in your product or your service than people are currently putting. So I think that Professor Petric is right.
Okay, good. Well, thank you very much, Antonia.
Peter,
any other question at this moment? Yes, go ahead. Yeah,
Peter,
Francesco?
if you want, I think I have in my presentation that some ideas and could also contribute to answer to this question, or maybe not answer, but just to discuss more in deeply. So if I can share with you, you want?
Yeah, no problem. I mean, go ahead. Still got a little bit more time, so you have the floor.
Okay, I go again with the experience of share my screen. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the presentation. So
yes, go ahead.
Very quickly. This is a these slides I share you is this information and different discussion we have in the working group in ERI, no? And this is a traditional vision of the tourism ecosystem. As you can see, there are 4 areas: this accommodation providers, the travel operators, transport, and hospitality. culture is embedded in hospitality. Hospitality is one more of these important areas. It's more a linear approach of all of that. But this approach, in our view, is not necessarily, or is related to this spending effect of the tourism, with direct impacts for economy, indirect induces, and finally we have the other impacts in other sectors. Okay, but it's not necessarily the kind of approach or model that facilitate high value strategy, because they can be split in two kinds of strategies. One is we focus on tourism exploitation, and finally we have the traditional model that is looking at mass tourism in order to quantity, and this. But in the opposite, we can also go to another more sustainable model with this the rentability, the profitability, and not only economic but also social, is addressing this niche tourism and high-profile tourism. It's more the focus is on tourism experience. In this moment, the idea is that the tourism ecosystem or the culture is not embedded in the tourism ecosystem. This is they are own ecosystem. So very important is in parallel. All the cultural and creative ecosystem that is very complex too. We have here in the picture all the creative industries that they are interrelated, and also the very complex creative cultural and creative ecosystem. So that there is sort of linking territories, that different all the kind of stakeholders, etc. The problem for this ecosystem is that this is very complex, and in particular we are also managing from maybe sometimes very big companies, but on the other hand we have also with very small, even companies, micro companies. So this is one of the difficulties, how to manage all that. And this is what is important, the intermediation of the umbrella organizations, and also the collaboration between public and private sectors. Just to finish, we can here in this table, in parallel, the different transitions for tourism, for culture, and also for involving heritage. And to illustrate all of that, maybe we can understand better with an example in the wine value chain. Wine value chain wine is an industry, a local industry related to farming. And of course, in this value chain, we can start by research. We can develop important sectors like nutrition, farming techniques, the industry, also the trade. And now we can start go ahead the production, and we can introduce this the prescription, the gastronomy, that is finally is cultural, and also the sense of hospitality for the consumers. And this not this is a way also for sociability. We have heritage, we have art and culture, and finally we have these strategies for creativity and competitivity in and marketing. So how organize all that and how involve all different stakeholders? Even now, where we need to introduce these new technologies, that they are important costs. And for us, our conclusion is that it's very important to work in these two axes: innovation, but also the cooperation, and also this community building, in order to overcome this the fragmentation in the sector.
Well, thank you very much, Francesco, for this further exposition and explanation, which clarifies also some of the other issues which were already raised in your previous presentation. Are there any other questions on the slides presented by Francesco? If not, then I think we will once more thank Francesco for giving this addition to his original speech. So thank you very much. And I think now we will move to the the fourth speaker in this afternoon session, Karima Kurtit. Karima Kurtit, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Peter. I'm trying to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
I will try to do it again. Okay, only my screen. Not yet?
No.
No.
Is someone from the IT here to help? Because I don't know what to do, because okay. Can you see something now?
No.
Just you.
Just me. It's also very nice, right?
Yes, it's very nice. So,
I have yesterday the same problem. When you use screen sharing, you need go to not only my screen, but the other option. I prefer to broadcast my webcam and screen.
Okay. Can you see something now, perhaps? No? I tried option 2 also, but let me check what I can do from my side. Okay. Okay. No, nothing happens. You don't see it?
Karima.
Yes.
Karima, you need a screen share, yes?
Yes. I'm
Okay.
trying to.
Okay. You click screen share. You have two options. One, my screen.
Okay.
And you choose this second, prefer.
I did.
Okay. And now you have new windows. You choose whole screen.
The whole. Can you see something?
No.
No. No. If I click on the second option, I only see. I see nothing.
Okay. Choose first option in that case.
Okay. If I choose. Okay. The first option. Nothing happens. What can we do?
You must have the menu. If you click the screen share button.
I did.
Okay, and now you can choose whole screen. Yes. Okay, only my screen, and prefer broadcast webcam and screen. Yes.
I clicked on both, but nothing happens.
You must get one more.
Mm-hmm. May I propose that we just accept that the technology is failing again, and that we just move ahead? So,
Okay.
Karima, can you
just
improvise? We cannot wait until all the technological problems in Split have been solved. So let's go ahead.
You can send me presentation, and I can.
Yeah. Okay. It takes long. It's a pity because I had nice things prepared on this, but okay.
Is it possible, Karima, to send the slides to the technician, and he might take care of it? We know this technology is very weak, but let's see what we can make out of it.
Okay. Sure. I can do that. Are there some questions in general? So in the meantime, I can share with him the presentation, Peter.
Yeah, well, why don't you just give a general introduction? If the screenshot at the end works, okay, we can go ahead. If not, then you just continue to improvise.
Okay. Well, my name is Karima Koertiet. I'm from the Netherlands. I work at the Open University in Heerlen, the Netherlands. I'm running the program Smart Cities and Data Analytics. Before I was working in Sweden. I was working at KTH, Royal Institute of Technology, and I have been working also there on city networks, intelligent cities, in combination with data analytics. And one of the projects that I was working on together with colleagues such as Peter Nijkamp and others was also on the tourism side in relation to cultural heritage, supported by big data and data analytics. And the work that I would like to present today, it's on cultural heritage, tourism, and social media to understand to understand better the value system, the appreciation of tourists on cultural heritage or cultural amenities in 40 global cities. Let me check. And in the meantime, I'm trying to send also the presentation. Okay. Okay. Well, we still have time, so let me send him first this. Okay, so the general aim of this presentation is to, first of all, to identify the most important elements and factors of visitors' attractiveness of 40 global cities from the perspective of cultural or historical cultural heritage, amenities, in combination also on the language diversity that has been used by the users all over the world visiting one of the cities, and also supported with different data sets to understand not only the strength of the city of cities that are providing or telling the story of their history and providing the services related to cultural heritage, but also on the other side how visitors have been appreciated these kinds of packages provided by the different cities all over the world. For this research, we developed a concept. The concept, we call it cultural heritage buzz. So the idea is, if we could identify the most important drivers and factors that have helped to improve the attractiveness of cities and also influence the value or improve the value of the different users, what is really important to combine it? What is the force field of it? So the first thing is to identify also the different amenities, the most important amenities or the top 10 amenities in each city. It's a kind of collection of cultural amenities. The second one is the stakeholders' value from the perspective of, for instance, the value of visitors, the value of residents, but also the value of artists in the city in the context of cultural heritage. And important here in our research is to identify or to highlight or to show the expression or the appreciation of the different visitors in each city, and also in combination also with the language that have been used or experienced by the visitors. Okay, and I think I think you have the presentation, if I'm correct. Am I right? Yes or no? Okay. And I mentioned also we wanted also to see if the different ICT tools, how do they support to tell the story and to see if we can create that kind of cultural buzz. That means, where do we find the highest density of tourists in in the different cities. So one of the for instance, one of the tools that we have used to extract data is how do cities use social media, or how can we use social media such as Facebook or TripAdvisor or Airbnb to extract the appreciation idea regarding the visitors or the users in the city. Well, as I mentioned, it's in the context of tourism. We know that tourism is for many countries an important export industry. But what we did here was not to look at tourism in general, because it's important to identify or to categorize or segment, or to use a kind of segmentation to see where do we have to focus on, and where can we also maximize our investments to have the best effects regarding creating the buzz in the city. So let me see. Yes. Do you have my presentation? It's not here. Okay, never mind. So what we did was the team, myself and my colleagues, we wanted to have a kind of real-time data regarding the value, the satisfaction of different users. So what we did here was we used TripAdvisor data. So we could scrap the data from the platform. And then what we did was we used 40 global cities, such as Amsterdam. And next to the city, we made a top 10 of cultural amenities in each city. And then we also extract from TripAdvisor the value of each amenity in the top 10 that have been visited or experienced by the different users all over the world. That's one thing. So then you have a kind of value system or appreciation system identified from the tourist side. On the other side, we wanted also to evaluate the strength of each city regarding cultural interaction, regarding infrastructure, regarding livability. So we wanted to combine these together to see if the strength of the city is also related to the value system or appreciation of cultural amenities in the city that has been supported by the strength that is of each city. Okay, so if we look at the strength of the cities regarding the economic performance, the cultural interaction performance, the livability performance, we used another data set from our Japanese, from the Mori Memorial Foundation from Japan. What they do is every year they evaluate or they do an assessment on the performance of 40 global cities all over the world on these kinds of categories, and bring them together and rank the cities based on these criteria. And then we combine this data set with the TripAdvisor data set, and to see if we can find some patterns in the performance of the cities and the value appreciation of the visitors. So what we did was for the appreciation, we use, as I mentioned, TripAdvisor data, looking at the average score of the tourists regarding the top 10 cultural amenities in the city, for instance, because I have the presentation here. Like in Amsterdam, you have Anne Frank House, you have Rijksmuseum, Van Gogh Museum, and then we looked at it, and then we look at the appreciation and the value system of the different users in relation to the strength regarding the different categories of the city. I had also some slides to show you how we extract the data from TripAdvisor to understand the value and appreciation of different tourists. Perhaps later on I can send you the paper if you are interested in this, or the presentation. It doesn't matter. Well, from our research, so based on the results, what we could identify is what creates exactly the buzz in the city and what are the most important factors or indicators provided by the city in their performance related to the appreciation of the visitors. So what we found out is that, for instance, the attractiveness in relation to socio-cultural facilities are very important here in the performance of cities. Providing these kinds of facilities are playing an important role related to the density or the attractiveness to attract more tourists and also to improve their appreciation for those kinds of facilities in the city. So that means, for instance, accessibility and local environment. So the quality of that is very important, that have a direct relationship towards the appreciation of tourists. Another one, for instance, is okay, sorry. Another one is another important factor is, for instance, the connectivity, the transportation. You have transportation within the city, the time schedule, for instance, from one place to another place. But there is also kind of connectivity and accessibility between the city and the airport. So that's also how can I say, positioned in the performance of these kinds of cities, and to see if it has a kind of effect on the appreciation. So and then what we also did was not looking only at the appreciation of tourists, but to see also how the residents are feeling regarding these kinds of ideas related to these facilities for the residents, but also if culture is also the appreciation of culture of the residents. Okay. What can I say more? I can. Okay, based on our findings, is that it's very nice to illustrate also the appreciation of the tourists, to see how do they feel, how do they experience the different cultural amenities provided in the city. But it's also important to involve the residents and also how do you say that, the satisfaction, the appreciation of residents towards the city, but also as a moderator, because if a city would like to position themselves using the story and the history or cultural heritage in their marketing plan, it's also important to see how the residents are reacting on that part, but also how can you get the residents involved in this whole process, that they can tell also the story or are part of this story. Let me check. Okay. I think, Peter, I think that's it for now. Yes.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Karima. And once more, apologies that you had to do it without your screen, but nevertheless, you have given a very interesting overview of the work you have been doing, using also different types of data sources so as to assess what is the attractive feature of cities for tourists and visitors. And I think making use of official statistical information on the one hand, and TripAdvisor data and maybe other social media data is very interesting new type of approach. And I think we might have now some time for a discussion. I've seen some requests of participants who would like to have the PowerPoint. Of course, that can easily be arranged because you made already the offer that you could send a PowerPoint. So I would suggest that they send their request to the organizers, and they will collect the request, and you will send all of them your PowerPoint. That's easy because you have already submitted your PowerPoint to the technician. I also see a question by Lydia Patrick. Lydia, are you online and can you speak directly? Otherwise, I can, of course, read your question, but it would be much nicer to hear your voice. Lydia, are you available? Then, in any case, I will then read the question by Professor Lydia Patrick. And the question is the following for Karima. Have you used the data scrapped through the TripAdvisor to give advice to local DMOs or city authorities or to the visitor management in the related cities? Since you have got valuable information on the hotspots in these cities, possibly also including the business hours in a day. By using such data, a DMO of a city may manage crowds and reallocate activities related to these hotspots. Okay, Karima, I hope you could understand or maybe even read the question on your screen.
No, I cannot read the question, but I can answer the question. Yes.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, we used a kind of program. You can use our program or other software programs to scrap the data from TripAdvisor. It's not only about TripAdvisor. The idea was to have a kind of up-to-date information on the appreciation of visitors, residents, or you name it. In another research, what we did was you can use data from Bureau of Statistics. But Bureau of Statistics, the data that we could integrate in this research was not enough, because we wanted to see also the appreciation of the individual person regarding a particular amenities. So in this research, we didn't use a lot of maps, but in another research that I did not or have time to present here, is that what we did was we could also identify, so you have the top 10 amenities, for instance, or top 5, you know the location, you know also the distance from the amenity or the activity to the center. You can draw some circles and to see what creates exactly the buzz. You can use also integrate autocorrelation to correct different things on that. So we did many things and to see how we can explain also that the creation or the development of that particular buzz. So what I presented here was just a part of it, so that you can do it, you can add or use different kinds of tools to identify or to create or to explain the buzz.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. This was a session, of course, also on innovative entrepreneurship. And in many cases, of course, if we look into TripAdvisor data, we know information from the side of the visitors. And do you think it's possible to filter out from all this rich information based on TripAdvisor, in particular the information which might be relevant for entrepreneurs? Was
that a question to me, Peter?
Yeah.
Can you repeat it, because I couldn't hear you very well?
Okay. So if you are using data from TripAdvisor, these are normally individual items put on the platform by visitors, by tourists, etc. And they, of course, reflect the appreciation of things to do in a city, like museums, but also other things, sports amenities, and many other things. How important would these data be for the use of a strategic policy of entrepreneurs? Can entrepreneurs also use these data, and what would they be able to learn from the data?
Yeah, and well, if you look at the TripAdvisor data, we did not only extract the appreciation and score of each user or the users regarding a kind of amenity or activity in the city. You could also profile within a business. You're also using segmentations to improve and provide your products to particular clients. So that you are doing a kind of growth strategy based on a very simple model of the Anchoff model. How would you, what kind of target group are you focusing on? So if you are using TripAdvisor, you could create a kind of segmentation and to see also the value and appreciation, also the important points to provide, to improve the services or product that you are providing or would like to sell, and use it also in your marketing strategy. So what I have used now here is the appreciation. But next to the appreciation, you could also segment or try to segment the different users based on the TripAdvisor data. But you could also see from the TripAdvisor data, if you extract more variables and to combine it in one data set, you could also see the person. So what kind of person is it? Is it a family? So is it a single person, family, business, in which period? So also the appreciation, if it's changed per period of time. Is it in the winter, in the summer? And there is also kind of appreciation written. So you can do kind of content cloud analysis to see the frequent used words and expressions of the different users. So there's a lot of things that you can do, not only with TripAdvisor. There are many social forms that you can use and to understand the user or your potential client.
Okay, well, thank you very much. This is very helpful, Karim. Of course, we know there are other platforms as well, as you mentioned it before, like Airbnb platforms, which also give a lot of information, especially for the hospitality sector and the demand for apartments, etc., in various cities and tourist regions. So I think what you introduced to us is a nice way of also strategic forward-looking into basic information which we might need also for entrepreneurship in tourism areas. So thank you very much. So we've had now all our 4 speakers, and we have had really very interesting and informative presentations. All of them, in my view, were really innovative and creative. They put forward new ideas, and I think especially in Europe, which is one of the bigger tourist regions in the world, it's important to look forward. We have to overcome, of course, the current corona times, which of course mean a deep dip in tourism. But at some stage, the sun will shine again. And then it's good that we have been looking forward, trying to develop new strategies, new entrepreneurial models, new hardware, software models, new financial models, new marketing models, which would all help us to overcome the current corona crisis. So I'm very happy with this innovative contribution from the side of the 4 speakers. Now, before I draw this now to a close, is there anyone else, either from the 4 speakers or from the wider audience? There's a big audience I've seen, dozens of them, so all over the world. Very nice. So is there any question you would like to raise, either by speaking, or you might just put it on the internet and then I can read it for you? Well, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Francisco?
Yeah, from my side, I'd like to mention also opportunities for entrepreneurship in the cultural heritage side, and in particular in the natural heritage. I think because in our discussion today, maybe we focus more in the urban aspects, but I think this is also important mention that tourism and cultural and creative sectors means an important opportunity for development in these territories. I just say again my screen very quickly.
Yeah.
To illustrate that. Yes, so this is You see my screen?
Yeah. Go ahead.
This is the map of Spain, and all these dark brown areas in the map are areas or with problems with demographic challenges. We have sparsely populated areas, all these areas, with sometimes with a density that are less in Lapland, is lower than 10 inhabitants per square kilometer, and also with an increase in the population. We try to diversify, and this is not a problem only in Spain. Maybe that is one of the more critical problems in Spain, and it's not new. But in my view, this is a more European countries. This is a problem that is also increasing. Specifically, also the elderly population in rural areas. So I think we need to pay attention to these aspects of entrepreneurship, also linked to the territorial context, to the geographical context. And I think now we have an special cases. Like you can see, this is different interregional projects, like this is in the North Baltic, with also to protect UNESCO natural sites. Also the use of the new realities, the standard realities application. We need also collaboration between technological centers and also companies and public authorities. We have concepts, new business models, and this is like Karima. These are also developed by the Purdue University and the Dutch universities. Or, for instance, in our region, we developed this concept also of cultural parks to involve the local communities in activities. So just to talk about also of these natural heritage aspects and the importance for rural territories. That's all.
Okay, well, thank you so much. That's a very nice other illustration also of the relevance of the type of approaches we are gradually developing in Europe. So thank you very much, Francesco. Do we have other questions? Well, if not, then I think it's my task as a... is there a question or?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for Karima's very nice presentation, and congratulations for the work she done. Just one question to Karima. Please, can you explain me when you're speaking about the tool of when you explore like social media or TripAdvisor, is it like IT tools, or you just sit and find some? I'm not sure. Did I understand what when you speak about tools? What is that tool?
Well, there are different tools to use to support or to get the right information to know about, for instance, the developments of what people really want. You have a product, and you want to know how can you get how can you position your product so to attract that kind of attention of the potential user, and you want to know what is really important for people, and to have a kind of idea. So what we did in our research is we wanted to see how people are really feel after they have visited, for instance, the Anne Frank House or Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam. Yeah, what is really the appreciation? So we wanted to have a kind of idea, and we could use different kinds of channels to get information. So what we thought was the most used channel or platform is, for instance, here, the TripAdvisor platform, where people can express their feeling and also share their experience with others that are or planning to visit that city and planning to go to that kind of activity. And perhaps for you, an idea to talk with Lydia, yes, because Lydia is working on tourism, professor at the university. Perhaps she can, or both of you can develop a kind of research to see how you can use TripAdvisor or other social media or Facebook to extract the appreciation regarding a few things in Split or another place in the country. So what I mentioned, what we did was we wanted to see what are really the most important elements in the appreciation of people, visitors. We did it also for the residents. We did it for the artists. And for instance, what we did in another research in Sweden, we looked at the feeling good of people in different cities in Sweden. Why do people feel good? Why are they happy? What makes them happy? We could get data from the municipality, but we were more interested in the information from the users themselves. How do they express themselves? Why do they love their city? Why do they love to live there in the neighborhoods? What makes it? What are the important criteria that keeps them there to build something in the neighborhood, to invest in the neighborhood? Is it because of the parks, the roads, the buildings, or is it more the appreciation for the neighborhoods or the spirit, the ambiance? So for that research, we use different kinds of channels to extract the data.
Okay, well, thank you so much once more for a further explanation, Karima. Well, I think we are now gradually moving toward the end of our very interesting afternoon session with quite a lot of new ideas and very strict dedication to making the best out of tourism in Europe. So finally then, let me thank Krunoslav, Francesco, Antonia and Karima for a very interesting contribution to a highly successful session. We wish you all the best, and in these still difficult Corona times, stay healthy, be well, and we hope to see you, of course, on one of our next WIRE meetings. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and sorry for this presentation, but okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Sehr nice, Karima. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you.